Billy, obviously, whatever the competition, it must be very disappointing for you to go out of this competition when we were 5-2 up with only a few minutes to go in the game.
Yeah, obviously 10 minutes to go, 5-2. Cruising, and then just showed our little bit of naivety of what we had on the pitch. I think the problem we had, what you don't want to do is, with the changes, what we were forced to change, and a lot of the players who were played tonight, it was the first game time in a long time.
Yeah.
So you've got the last 10 minutes, and you've got probably 7 of your players who are holding on.
Yeah.
Because they've had no game time in weeks. And I think you can be really critical at times, and like you say, it doesn't look great from the outside when you, like you say, when you're 5-2 up. But I think it was all down to circumstance, really. I think, obviously, we've had to take Tealey off because he's fatigued, because he's done some work with Fleetwood yesterday. So we knew we was going to have to do that. And then I think, obviously, the loss of Danny Preston, so we have to change that. Then we bring Jordan Thewlis on, and he has to come off.
Yeah.
And then suddenly we've got square pegs in round holes, and suddenly we look a little bit disjointed, and we look a little bit, well, very, very leggy. There's negatives and there's pluses. The pluses are these players, a lot of players who haven't had 90 minutes have got 90 minutes in them, and it'll test and it'll serve them well. The biggest negative is, obviously we lost the game. But the biggest negatives is obviously the injuries to Danny Preston and Jordan Thewlis.
Yes, I was going to ask about those.
Yes. You know, the main thing tonight, one of the main things tonight, if you like, apart from the result, second main thing was to try and get through without any injuries. And unfortunately, we've got two lads that start virtually every week, and they both picked up injuries.
Any idea on how serious that might be, or how long they might be out at this stage, Billy?
No, not at this minute.
No.
Not this minute. It's difficult because, like I say, the reason why we left Jordan on the bench, just obviously because he needed a rest. We said he was very fatigued after Saturday, and you know, Jordan would have never come on the field if he didn't really have to. But obviously that left side, when Prezi went off, the left side was problematic. So that's disappointing tonight.
Yes, sure, yeah. And just one other word on one other injury. Any word on Yusuf Cisse for Saturday's game against Darlington?
Yeah, well, obviously that's the problem as well, because obviously, like I say, we had to withdraw him on Saturday against Curzon, and so tonight he won't be involved, but we'll have to have a look at the situation and see how he goes. It's just it's been a frustrating night, to say the least.
Yes, sure.
But like I say, 70 minutes of the game we had, they've had literally 2 10-minute spells.
Yeah.
Even in the first half, when they got the first goal, they've been totally dominated for however minutes it was, and then they had the little spell and got 2 goals out of it. They've had the last 10 minutes and got 3 goals out of it. But what I will say is the players that have come in tonight, Peter Dale was really good. Oliver was very good. Very good, really good. And people have got good performances in. It's very frustrating because, like I say, I can't think of a player on our side that's had a bad game.
No.
And I might sound really crazy, but they haven't had a bad. It's not like you can think, well, 3 or 4 players have been really poor. Everybody's played decent, good performances. It's like I say, that 10-minute period where it was just, we conceded the 2 and 3.
Yes, sure. Yes. And now 2 very difficult home games coming up against Darlington and Banbury. On to Darlington first of all. We've lost twice to them this season. How do you think we're in? What sort of shape do you think we're in to tackle that test, Billy?
I think we're in good. Well, we were in a lot better shape than we were in 90 minutes ago. But these two games are important. These two games, again, we've said these two games, home games, we've got to make sure we take a good haul of points from them, because we know we've got some difficult away games to come. So we've got 2 home games on the spin. The Darlington game, we saved the 2 Darlington games before. We saved our 2 worst performances. You know, we really were poor. 2 away games at Darlington and got nothing. Hopefully we'll perform better. We're in a very, you know, Saturday was a great performance again. So what we've got to do is obviously tonight pick ourselves up, and we've got to make sure we go again and get back to our usual mean self, meaning in not conceding a lot of goals. And that's what we've got to do. And I mean, I think tonight as well, what you've got to say is as well, there's a lot of players who haven't played at all together tonight. They've not played. Dom Smith has played with Peter, never played with him before, never kicked a ball with him before. There was a lot of that in the in midfield areas. But Darlington, we've got to make sure that we again we roll our sleeves up and we make sure that we really, really do what we're best at.
And it will be a very different game,
It'll be
of course.
A very different game. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No worries, gents.
Thank you.